What's up, everybody? It's Wrestling Uncensored. Tonight on the show, Vince McMahon steps down as CEO of the WWE. Sasha Banks released from the WWE. We're watching Rampage. We watch Smackdown. There's a lot of wrestling news to talk about. Let's bring Johnny North in here and let's start this sucker up. Just an uneventful day in pro wrestling, John. Just a regular day. Normal. Everything's normal. How are you?
Well, just the week in general, if you think about it. Like, it's been a crazy week start to finish. Feels like so much has gone on just 1 week's time. It's like, what are you going to do for the rest of the month now?
I think we're going to deal with everything that's happened. I think we're going to continue to deal with everything that's happened and figure out what exactly is going to take place and how the wrestling world will look going forward. Just so much going on. Like you mentioned, I'm going to run down a few of the stories that we have here to talk about tonight on the show. We will try to keep this show, less than 6 hours, but it seems like we have like 3 days worth of material. Vince McMahon, of course, has stepped down as CEO and chairman of the WWE. If you have not heard the news, he's being investigated by the WWE board for some misconduct and paying off some women that he maybe had some inappropriate relations with, women that worked for the WWE, and he's being investigated for potentially using company money to pay off these women that signed non-disclosure agreements. He's being investigated for multiple situations, and John Laurinaitis is being named as one of the guys that's also being investigated, and Vince may have paid someone off on behalf of John Laurinaitis, according to some stories coming out from the Wall Street Journal and Pro Wrestling Insider and Fightful, all doing a lot of work these days looking into what's going on with Vince McMahon. And it is wild, and the super chat already coming in from Doug Hepburn. Thank you, Doug. What's going to happen tonight with Mr. McMahon? Dropping that before the show even started. Thank you to everybody tuning in live here. Don't forget to become a member. Join.ringsidereport.net. Support the channel. We have a lot going on here tonight. Vince McMahon is the top story, obviously. The chairman of the WWE stepping down, being replaced by his daughter, Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie, the new interim CEO, interim chairwoman of World Wrestling Entertainment. Sasha Banks, released by the WWE. This first reported by...
Now.
Yeah, this was a report yesterday by Raj Giri, and then it seems like it is confirmed. Sasha Banks done with the WWE. Multiple outlets now confirming that she has been granted her release, which she asked for and has now received, which is shocking. Of course, Jeff Hardy was arrested earlier this week for drinking and driving. Suspended by AEW, set to go to rehab, pulled from a big title match this week on Dynamite that was tremendous. I'd say match of the week. It was amazing. I don't know what John thought. We'll get his thoughts on AEW Dynamite and the Young Bucks as the new AEW champions. I think they are tremendous tag team champions. Great to see them back on top. We'll talk about Forbidden Door, Will Ospreay and Dax Harwood on Dynamite. Randy Orton's back injury. How long is Randy out for? How hurt is Randy? The rest of the year, potentially? You heard Riddle talking about him like maybe he was going to retire. The way Riddle was talking about him on SmackDown made me worry about Randy. All this, getting buried. We lost great referee, great backstage guy in WWE, Dave Hebner. Dave Hebner passed away. Rest in peace to Dave Hebner. Can't forget the, multiple Hebner angle there with Hulk Hogan. The two Hebners, Earl and Dave. And Dave, after Earl kind of took over more doing the refereeing, Dave was a backstage guy with the WWE for years. Longtime wrestling guy. Rest in peace to Dave Hebner. Dixie Carter's going to appear at Slammiversary this weekend. and Elias is going to appear on Raw on Monday. I don't know what's more perplexing. How they're going to get Elias to grow a beard in a week. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he grows his facial hair real fast. I don't know how they're going to pull that one off. I'm looking forward to that. Dixie Carter at Slammiversary, like, whatever, I get it. It's fine. And, you know, Money in the Bank is coming up. Forbidden Door is next weekend. Like, there's a lot going on. Interesting time to be a wrestling fan. And I'm watching wrestling right now. I've got John Moxley and Dante Martin having a wrestling match right in front of me. Oh, Moxley just hit an RKO, brother. Was that for Randy? Is Randy retiring? Is he okay?
I just think everyone hits a cutter now in wrestling. I mean, it's not a wrestling match if you don't see a cutter.
Good point. Let's start with Vince. It's what everybody wants to talk about. That's what everybody wants to hear us talk about. The news came out yesterday? I can't even... Was it yesterday? The days are... I don't know.
I believe it was yesterday. And then more news came out today, right?
Yeah. So he's being investigated by the WWE board. And he today stepped down as the CEO. Which I predicted he would do. I don't know if you watched Ringside Report MMA last night, but we talked about Vince. And I said, he's going to step down as CEO. He's going to step down.
Fred got it right.
What did he say?
Fred was on the ball. Fred was like, oh, he's going to step down, but he's still going to have all the power.
Yeah, he's right. So Vince has stepped down as CEO and chairman, and Stephanie is not. Now, careful. They didn't say she's the chairwoman and she's the CEO. They said she's the interim CEO and interim chairwoman. Because they expect Vince to come back and regain control, full control. And he is maintaining the creative control. So he's still the top, creative director in the company. Everything creative-wise is going to go through Vince. And I would suspect that a lot of things business-wise are still going to go through Vince, even though he's not officially at the top of the company. So 100%. I think this is all, we're all seeing through this, right? Everybody saw through this. A lot of people are saying, oh, my God, Vince is stepping down. This is the end of Vince, da-da-da. No, that's not what this is at all. And the real people that are, paying close attention understand that Vince is business as usual, maintaining control. There was a report from Pro Wrestling Insider. I wish I could pull it up here. I don't know where it is. But where they were saying basically that the reports from backstage at Smackdown and the production meetings was, Vince was jovial and cracking jokes and acting like business as usual, didn't address the accusations or anything, didn't address a single thing with anybody, and nobody dared ask him about it.
Right.
So,
not surprised.
And then, of course, he appears on SmackDown.
Starts the show before everything, before the opening.
He started the show. Well, they did the opening. They did the Then, Now, Forever together. That's the most important part. Together, pal. I'm wearing my Vince t-shirt here. Look at me, pal. It's Vince McMahon. Together forever. That's what I told those women. Then I moved on. Then I had to give them some money, pal.
Apparently it's his own money, so I think he might be okay.
He might be okay. He might be okay because Vince is saying and his people are saying that it was his own money. It was his own money that he used to pay off these women. But I think, and that's why he won't get in trouble with the WWE board, because it's not, using the WWE's money. It's his own money, so he could do whatever he wants. But then there is the other issue where there was a woman that Vince was involved with who had a job where she was getting paid $100,000, and then for some reason, I'm not sure why, she was given a salary increase of $100,000. So she went from making $100,000 to making $200,000 a year, kind of, overnight. And that is being seen as possibly suspicious, and that is where you could get in trouble. That's more, okay, well, that's company funds. That's a salary. That's WWE money that Vince is paying to a woman that he's involved with. Why is he paying her this money? Why is she getting this salary bump? Is this something that people in her job would normally get at this point in their careers? If it is, then fine. It's all good. But they're investigating that. They're investigating everything, and Vince has had to step away from that side of things because he's being investigated by those people.
Well, this isn't the first time he had to step down. Like the steroid trial as well. Like Linda was technically like in charge; she was the figurehead, but Vince was still doing everything. So this isn't the first time he's had to do this.
And now Stephanie is the figurehead,
right?
But it's still Vince's company. He's not gone anywhere. It's
interesting. I think tonight was kind of to show that too, was the fact that he's still there.
Still my show, pal.
Statement.
Yeah. What a statement, too. What a statement. I mean, he comes out, he said, total babyface, babyface to the crowd, honored to be in front of the crowd, honored to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And then he talks about the opening, then, now, forever, the most important, together. Welcome to Smackdown. And that was it. Just a baby face, and you get the statement there. The statement is, stick with me. I'm your guy. I've always been your guy. Don't worry about anything. This is just a bump in the road. But what I really want to know is, why is he paying people off? Why do they have to sign NDAs? And what is happening? Like, what is the situation where you have to pay somebody to be quiet? How many people has he paid? And what has he done to do that? Why?
I guess he just didn't want his affairs to be public knowledge, I guess.
That's possible. Makes sense. He's a technically married man, even though a lot of people who seem to know say that Vince and Linda haven't actually been together in years. Maybe decades. They don't live in the same state. They don't live in the same house. They don't really, it's a partnership more than a marriage.
He's admitted, like, I feel like this was in Playboy a couple of years ago. Like, he's admitted he's had affairs in the past. So
yeah, but
this isn't
he's
really a surprise.
But he's tried to play it off like it was in the past and now he's reformed and he's a good family man and stuff. Like, that is the image he's tried to portray. Sure. Right? He's tried.
Yeah, that's what he's tried. Yeah.
We don't buy it.
Just goes to show people don't change sometimes, like they can say it, but they don't really change at heart.
I mean, we're not surprised. And that's the thing. Like, we're not surprised that this is happening. I think I'm a little bit surprised it's taken this long. I think that's really what it is. I'm just surprised it's taken this long for something like this to happen to Vince. Because you just assume, like, my impression of Vince is just a crazed, horny man. Oh my God, pal, I'm the genetic jackhammer. This is a man who called himself the genetic jackhammer on TV and talked about the product of my semen, my son Shane. The product of his semen. This is how he referred to his son on international television. This is a man who made Trish Stratus bend over and bark like a dog. This is a man who wanted to do an angle with his own daughter where there was going to be incest and Vince would wind up being the father of her baby, and Stephanie was like, let's not do that. This is, I mean, we could go on and on with Vince, This is a man.
God. Don't forget that.
He beat God, but I mean, who cares? I mean, that's less offensive than, possibly helping Jimmy Snuka out of a murder charge. You know what I mean? Allegedly. Like, there's stuff that, is in Vince's past, and it's never really caught up to him. He's always kind of escaped, but this one feels like it might be the end, because it seems like there's a lot there. He's had to step down, and he's getting old. And everybody kind of is already talking like, all right, what's going to happen when Vince is gone? What's going to happen when Vince is gone? Like, that's the talk anyways. How long is Vince going to stick around, you know? And I think this is going to be the final straw where it's like, yeah, this is not going to just drop away. This is going to stick. And he's going to no longer be CEO and chairman of WWE, and he might get pushed out of WWE. I think this might be it.
I'd be surprised if that happened. I mean, I guess if it's going to happen, it'd be now. But I just seem very surprised. It feels like Vince, he's got the right legal team behind him to figure this out. Like, even if the board went against him, he could still go against their vote anyways. He still has like majority like stockholding power, so it almost doesn't even matter. Like, I feel like the only way you're going to see Vince out of power is if they sell the company.
Which this might, push. This might be the...
People would be less interested now, no? Like, it would be harder to sell the company right now with all this scandal.
I don't know about that. The company still has value. It's just Vince that's a bit of trouble. So you get rid of Vince, you get rid of John Laurinaitis, who, by the way, according to several outlets, was not backstage at SmackDown tonight. He's likely done with WWE. Likely, you would think.
Is he done with the Bellas too?
I don't know.
Bellas have not commented on this, I guess.
I don't think so. I haven't heard the Bellas comment on it or John or Bryan Danielson comment on it, you know? I'd love to know what's really going on there. Because there's always been talk about John Laurinaitis being maybe inappropriate with some people in WWE. There's always been kind of rumors there, you know? But now this coming out where Vince maybe paid somebody off because of something Johnny Ace did. You know, there was that story of Johnny Ace found Kelly Kelly. He hired her. She was like 18. He found her in like some magazine posing in a bikini, and he's like, we gotta hire her, you know?
Like the Bellas too, no?
Maybe. That's what I wonder. If Johnny Ace is really that creepy with everybody, how did the Bellas let the man marry their mother? Johnny Ace is married to the Bellas' mom. He's their stepfather. Yeah, right now. He's Bryan Danielson's stepfather-in-law. You know?
Might be awkward now.
Yeah, you think? It's got to be awkward. Oh, God. It's crazy. But Vince showing up on TV tonight was the most Vince thing ever. Most people, this type of thing happens, they might step away, but he's like, no, I'm going on TV. I don't care. You know, he doesn't care. He's Vince. It's his show. It's his company. He's still in control. He's got Brock Lesnar tonight, you know?
Yep. I mean, he was on CNN. You know, it's always a win when you're on the major news outlets. So
was he on CNN?
He's making huge news. Oh yeah. Well, the whole story was right, but not everything. Just a big headline that Vince steps down.
Yeah.
And he'll be on Smackdown tonight. I mean, man, that's tremendous advertisement right there.
Right,
CNN's advertising you.
I did see that where Dave Meltzer was on the CNN too. But Vince wasn't. They talked about Vince, but he wasn't actually on CNN. Like they didn't get an interview with Vince about this. He hasn't done an actual interview with anybody about this, and he won't. He won't.
No, not yet. It'd be his own terms if he did that.
It'll be on the network, and Stone Cold will do it.
Right.
Now, Vince, what do you think about women?
Be rough for both.
God. I don't know. It's a bad look for Vince. It would be a shame if this is how the whole Vince McMahon legacy turned out, but I could see it going in that direction. And look at Stephanie now in a power position.
Well, figurehead position, really.
Yeah, but if Vince dies tomorrow, she's in charge. It's hers. You know what I mean? Like, depending how this goes, she could wind up running the whole show, which seemed like it wasn't going to happen like a couple of weeks ago, like not long ago. It didn't, it seemed like, oh, maybe she's stepping away and maybe she's not going to be involved anymore. And now all of a sudden she's the CEO. She might wind up running this thing permanently. I could see it. Her and Triple H. You thought I was gone. Ciampa's going to be the next champion in WWE. You haven't dropped him on Raw. No more jumping on Raw for Ciampa. I'm in charge now. Watch Ciampa start winning matches now all of a sudden. All of Triple H's guys start winning. NXT changes again. Wouldn't that be crazy? But Vince is still in charge of creative, so that won't happen.
I mean, again, it's a great pipe dream for a lot of people, I'm sure. But yeah, I just don't see Vince stepping down. Stephanie coming back, I just felt, eventually it was going to happen. This way, though, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of conspiracy theorists thinking oh, this was the plan all along. They knew this was going to happen. I don't think so, but it's interesting how this has all come together. And Stephanie's now back in WWE after it seemed like they were trying to push her out. So it's kind of great for her. They put McMahon's back in the office again.
It's huge.
We thought the McMahon's were going out, so it's big.
It's massive. It's massive for Stephanie McMahon, even for Triple H. I think Stephanie did step away a month ago. What was it? A month or so ago, she stepped away from WWE, and I think she did this knowing that this was going to come down, and she wanted to kind of take a little break before taking over the big seat. I think she knew. She had to know because she's on the board. She's on the board, right? And they started investigating in April, so she 100% knew. This investigation started in April. Stephanie stepped away from her roles in WWE in May. And then didn't the WWE put out some stuff saying Stephanie wasn't so good at her job and Nick Khan's taking over all that stuff? Wasn't there talk about that after Stephanie left?
I mean, there's talk about a lot of stuff. I mean, whether it's true or not, who knows? But it did seem from what a lot of things that were thrown out there was a lot of Stephanie bashing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how things have turned out now where, well, now she's going to be at least the figurehead now in charge. So
now
interesting. See.
I know, this might sound like I'm watching too much Succession, and I get it, but, it seems like maybe Stephanie is on the other side of this, of Vince. Maybe she's pushing for this type of investigation on Vince, because she winds up the winner in this whole thing. She steps away. People in the company are maybe burying her on the way out. Maybe, there's two sides to this thing, and Stephanie's on one side, and she's winning. And she's getting Vince out. This may be a move. Who knows? I don't know how these things work. I can't pretend to know. But, we'll see how it all shakes out. Can't wait for the book to be written on this one in, 20 years. By Triple H. I wrote a book. Can you believe it? And I'm wearing a suit.
Well, Vince has survived a lot, though, in the past. I wouldn't be surprised if he survives this.
How much can one man survive? He's an old man, John.
Well, the fact that, he's still having, relationships, in his 70s, man, Vince is amazing. He just keeps going, so I feel like he can do anything now at this point.
Oh, he's the genetic jackhammer, man. What are you talking about? I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, but in his 70s,
so what?
I'm surprised. The Vince we see now, is still the genetic jackhammer. What? I'm surprised.
He stole the show at WrestleMania. The guy still got it.
Clearly, yeah. You have to give it to him, no question. Yeah. Like AJ says.
Yeah, I don't want to, start praising Vince here because this is not a good time to praise Vince. Seems like he's done some bad things. Either way, like, you can't have sex with your employees. You know what I mean? Like, there's a power dynamic there. It's not appropriate. You shouldn't be doing that, Vince. Like, no matter what happened, if it was consensual and it was all fine and it winds up that he's all fine and he didn't do anything wrong, it's still, like, not an appropriate thing to do. I don't think you should be having sex with your employees. You can't find other people to have sex with, Vince. You have to go in the office and have people that, this woman who is making $100,000 a year, that's nothing to Vince McMahon. You know what I mean? That's peanuts. The power dynamic there is way out of whack, and he's her boss, probably like her boss's boss's boss at that point. You know what I'm saying? If you're working for WWE and the corporate thing, your boss has a boss, and then his boss is maybe, Vince. Your boss is like you're like a corporate person. Your boss is like a corporate person. Their boss is like John Laurinaitis. You know what I mean? And that's what's wrong with the WWE,
Right.
is that there's like corporate people, and then when you get to like the kind of top of the ladder, it's like Michael Hayes, and it's like, what the hell is this? What's going on here? Who's running this show? That's really what's wrong with WWE. It's just still carny at its core. They can't get like Bruce Pritchard is like, Kevin Dunn. All these guys have been around forever. It's like, all right, there's skeletons in their closets. Come on.
Wasn't Michael Hayes dating like Alicia Fox or something?
Was he?
Or is that just like what I thought?
I don't know. It's not appropriate. It's not appropriate.
Well, given that she had like problems or something afterwards, like yeah, like
Oh, I hope that's not true. I don't know if that's true. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. We've known that it's bad, and I'm honestly surprised it's taken this long to come out. And here it is. It's coming out, and I think it's going to take Vince down. I really do. I love Vince. I think he's done some great things for pro wrestling, but it's his time. It's time for, as Owen Hart said, enough is enough, and it's time for a change. You got to keep it moving. And it's time for the WWE to keep it moving. They're stuck with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. They really like that one. But, management-wise, I think they can keep it moving. I was expecting Brock to show up tonight. I wasn't surprised by that at all. I know it's supposed to be a big surprise, but I was like, well, they're in Minneapolis. That's kind of Brock country, and Roman's got no opponent for Money in the Bank, and he's wrestling his Money in the Bank opponent on SmackDown, so here comes the pain. The beast.
to me this was like a telling sign that they keep talking how like Randy Orton, like he might not come back. Maybe Randy won't be ready for SummerSlam, and now this is what they're going to do for SummerSlam instead. This is the way I saw that.
Oh. So not Money in the Bank?
Well, I mean, they could do Money in the Bank, but I'd just be surprised because, like, isn't Money in the Bank probably, what, 3-4 weeks? Like, to me, it just seemed like SummerSlam's the big show, and SummerSlam's only like 3 weeks after Money in the Bank, right? So you probably want that one because that's still a stadium show.
Yeah, Money in the Bank is like 2 weeks away.
Right.
And SummerSlam is, I don't know, end of July, I think. 30th?
July 30th, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see them doing Brock Roman at SummerSlam, pushing it until then, but I figured they'd do it for Money in the Bank. Vegas, Brock Lesnar. Seems like a good spot to have a Brock match. You know?
I mean, if they have Randy, they should definitely do Randy because, like, I think the fans want to see that. But if Randy can't go, I think Brock's the second option here.
Randy for what? Money in the Bank or SummerSlam?
I think Randy was supposed to get SummerSlam, but I don't know. Like you said it, like on Raw, I think tonight as well. Like it just the way they keep talking about it, it seems like Randy's maybe not coming back. So
yeah, he's got some sort of back injury, and there was a report out, I think from Fightful, saying that Randy is maybe out for the rest of the year.
Right.
Which is bad. And it's a back thing, and he might need back surgery. That's bad. especially for a guy who's been wrestling as long as Randy's been wrestling. That type of thing could end your career. And the way Riddle was talking about him, it's like, oh, okay, there's a vibe here. You know, Riddle cut a promo, and his promo, he kind of mentioned his match later with Roman, but he was mostly talking about Randy and how much Randy has done for the WWE in the past 20 years, and he's given his body and his career. And, you know, it was like a career retrospective on Randy. And he thanks Randy for doing everything because we watched him as fans. I was like, what is this promo? It was very strange. It felt like they were gearing us up for a Randy Orton retirement, which is possible, but I'd be surprised. And you never, you know, I'm not the world's biggest Randy Orton fan, but you never like to see a guy have to end his career that way because of injury. You want to see him go out on his own terms. Feel real bad for Randy. I hope he's all right. Hope he can come back. Poor Randy.
Well, it's not like Randy has these things in his career. It's like, oh, I wish he would have done that kind of thing. Like, I think he's done definitely enough in his career. You can look back and say, like, well, he had an amazing career. Like, if it ends now, like solid career, no doubt about it. But it's just like, if you can do more, I mean, by all means, do it. I mean, you're still over like hell right now. Like, why not? Why not have Randy as champion again? Like, to me, like, if anyone was going to beat Roman, I thought Randy was the guy to do it, to be honest.
On the other hand, he's got millions of dollars, and if he's really got a serious injury, you think about quality of life. Like, is it worth it? You know?
His kids
is it worth
too,
it?
you know?
Yeah, is it worth it to go out and take bumps and to do all that type of stuff? Is it worth it? At this point, maybe, you know, maybe it's not for Randy. If he does have to retire for one reason or another, you know, great career, legendary career, Hall of Famer, no doubt. I don't know. I hope he's all right, but I don't think he's going to wrestle for SummerSlam, which would make sense to keep Brock for Roman at SummerSlam instead of doing it in Money in the Bank, right? Because Money in the Bank is kind of a, you know, whatever event. It's not that big of a deal. They've got the ladder matches. That's enough. They don't really need Brock there, but I could see them trying to make it important and throwing Brock on the card. I'm not sure. I feel like it's going to be Money in the Bank, though. Like, if I had to bet, I'd say Money in the Bank. And maybe even do a rematch at SummerSlam. What the hell?
Like, we need more Brock Roman.
I mean,
like, it's already a rematch of a rematch of a rematch.
They got nothing else.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, honestly, like, I'm very much sick and tired of Brock and Roman. Like,
How
I
about
guess in a way,
Money in the Bank match, Brock Roman, and then triple threat with Drew at SummerSlam, and then you do Drew and Roman at the Castle thing in Wales.
but you know, they're not going to do that.
Why not?
It's going to be Roman and Brock one-on-one again, because, like, the way I think they're thinking is like, oh, they didn't get to do the complete match at WrestleMania, so they got to do another one. Because, you know, of course, all the other rematches in the past don't really count. It's all about what we've done lately. So the last one wasn't what we wanted to do, so let's do everything we want to do now. And it'll probably happen at SummerSlam.
Why didn't they get to do their match at Mania? I mean, they did. No. I mean,
because Roman was hurt, right? His arm. You notice, I think it was his tricep or something he hurt.
Oh.
And then apparently Brock got hurt during the match too or something. So then they just went home early. Like, if you notice too, like, the second night of WrestleMania, it ended early. And apparently, like, 15 minutes of that match didn't happen. So
yeah, I remember hearing
why it was
that.
kind of lackluster.
Yeah. Now I remember that. Yeah. That's
even I said it. Like, I'm a big Roman Brock fan, but I was like, man, that match, like, what the hell happened there?
And
that explained it right there.
Okay.
It could have been better, and you know, it just goes to show they got hurt.
Yeah, I remember reading that report after. You're right about that. So you think this is their, like, redo?
Pretty much. I mean, that seems to be what WWE is now, right? Like, let's just redo stuff. I mean, they said no more automatic rematches, and I feel like we're just forgetting about that. We're just doing automatic rematches no matter what. IC title rematch, doing it next week.
Yeah. Well, they got nothing else. That's the thing. They got nothing else. What are you going to do?
Well, they actually have a lot of talent. They can actually do something else, but to actually plan that, I guess they can't figure that out.
At
That's the
this point, who else to wrestle Roman Reigns? Like Roman said after he beat Riddle tonight, there's nobody. Wreck everyone and leave. There's no one left. He beat them all. Well, who is left? Cody's hurt.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
Who's left? He's beat everybody.
You could do Seth Franklin against him because he beat him at the Rumble, right? So that makes sense.
Seth Franklin? Who's Seth Franklin?
You didn't see that?
No, I missed that. What was that?
There was a mistake on the advertisement for a WWE show. Instead of Seth Freakin', it said Seth Franklin Rollins. And Rollins even changed his name on Twitter to Franklin Rollins, actually.
It's ridiculous.
So.
Okay.
That was hilarious.
Seth Franklin.
So anyways, Seth Franklin. It's hilarious. But Seth beat him at the Rumble, right? So technically he should get the shot, right?
You would think. But Seth keeps losing to Cody. He lost 3 times to Cody in a row. Cody was hurt. He had a torn pec. He was all bruised up. And Cody still beat Seth's ass at the Hell in the Cells. Destroyed him in that cell. Beat him. 1, 2, 3, middle of the ring. Didn't cheat or nothing. So Seth is not credible right now. Just came off a feud with an injured man and lost. 3 in a row. Seth, I don't know. Seth and Roman right now is not that credible. There's no baby faces. And he's a heel too, Seth. There's no baby faces to go up against Roman.
I don't know about you, but Roman to me seemed like a bit of a baby face. Seemed like people really wanted to chant for him.
Thank you, Harold. He says you made Johnny laugh. Seth Franklin. Johnny likes that one. That wasn't really me.
Hilarious.
Johnny made himself laugh.
Yeah, I made myself laugh. Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. It's great.
That's funny.
And I like that Seth actually acknowledges it too, so it's great.
I just want to acknowledge Paul M., who says the Yankees beat the Blue Jays 12-3 tonight, which, I was watching the game while I was watching SmackDown. Yankees just keep crushing it. Destroying the Blue Jays. Obliterating them tonight. Thank you, Paul, for the Yankees update and the final on the score. I'm watching Rampage right now. We got Robert Fish taking on Darby Allin, which is probably going to be a good match. Darby Allin's always good. Darby Allin's one of my favorite guys in AEW. He's fantastic. We're going to talk about AEW and Forbidden Door. I've got some theories. Can you believe Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley?
Terrible, by the way.
Yeah,
that was horrible.
What the hell was that? They had a pose down, and that was the main event of Raw this week? What? Get out of here.
Every week it's like, can the main event of Raw be any worse? And yet it always seems to top itself. I don't know about you. 4-way the week prior, and now this week, it's like, wow. I don't know how people watch Raw live because I can't do it. It's impossible. I have to watch it afterwards, on demand. Yeah. And once you get to that third hour, it's like, why does this exist? The first 2 hours, I thought, great. It was one of the best shows I was watching Raw. And then that third hour, it's like, this doesn't need to exist whatsoever. None of it.
Yeah. I like they made Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan a tag team. I think it makes sense.
That was the first hour, I think.
Yeah. They wrestled Nikki Ash and Doudrop there, and they qualified for Money in the Bank in a tag team match, which is kind of weird, but I like them as a tag team because they kind of look the same, They fit together. They could start dressing the same. They'd look like a tag team.
They don't wrestle very much like each other, but whatever. I guess
come up with some tag team moves. They could do it. I don't know.
Well, liking tag teams, so yeah. When you bring back the tag team titles, it makes sense.
There will be no more tag team champions for the women in WWE. As the great Ricky says, make my words, Johnny North. Make my words. Oh, you're wearing a Trailer Park Boys hoodie, too. I like it.
Well,
nice hoodie.
Because Vince is greasy, right? So I thought, go with that.
Vince isn't just greasy. He's greasy. He's super greasy. He's like
Right.
Cyrus greasy. Fuck off. I got work to do. Fucking Cyrus. What a dick. Now you got
So
me
yeah,
thinking
Raw.
now you got me thinking about Cyrus. Oh man. I got my man Olivier Aubin about to fight Roush Manfio here at the PFL. I'm watching this right in front of me, so forgive me if I get a little distracted or excited or sad. But probably excited. I think Olivier is going to do well here. Olivier is the man. The Canadian gangster, Olivier Aubin-Mercier. Let's go. Montreal. He's fighting right now for the PFL. Big fight, John. Big MMA fight going on. I'm watching it.
I can see it too, so it's cool.
Oh, yeah, I got it on the screen for you there. Only you can see it, but... Oh, look at you, John. Wow, our production team is solid, right? You can watch the fight too, John. Wow, what a team. What a squadron. Yeah, Raw... Ezekiel and Kevin Owens. Ezekiel beat him by countout. They did the rematch there.
Well, the match was fine. The countout thing was stupid.
Whatever. It is what it is.
He argues with the commentators, and that's why he gets counted out. Like, man, it made him look so dumb.
It was a lazy finish. They had no other way to do it.
Well, they didn't want Kevin to lose like 1, 2, 3, so yeah, they did like that. But and they've done the stupid countouts too much. They can't just have him get counted out like that. It has to be a reason for it. But I didn't like it, and that's fine with Elias coming back, whatever, next week. I'm sure they'll have a fake beard or something. But
is that it? They'll do a fake beard? That's no good.
Unless he's gonna do it. Unless the Elias concert will be like on the screen and then they'll just like Photoshop it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they could do like one of those filter. Like I could get a Snapchat chat filter easily where I look like I have a beard. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So maybe they'll do one of those, like a filter on a screen. That makes sense. But then Kevin Owens.
Didn't say he'd be live.
I guess, but Kevin Owens would know something is up. He'd smell a rat. He's no dummy.
Well, this isn't going to end anytime soon. I think this is more than likely. This is Kevin's thing till SummerSlam as well. Like they've only done one match on pay-per-view, right? So they got to do one at Money in the Bank. They got to do one at SummerSlam. Everyone's got to do 3 matches at least, right?
No, we're gonna do 3 of these, not on pay-per-view. This was number 2. They already did number 2 on Raw. They did 1 on the pay-per-view where Kevin won. Now 2 on Raw. 3 at Money in the... No, are they gonna be in Money in the Bank, these guys?
Well, that's another great question. They might be in Money in the Bank, so that won't count as a match, right?
Right. So far, we have Seth Freakins, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre were both given spots in Money in the Bank tonight, and they seemed angry about it. You know what I mean?
They both lost last week, and they both advanced. It's really stupid.
Yeah. Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn are going to wrestle next week on SmackDown, and the winner gets a spot in Money in the Bank. You think it'll be Sami Zayn? Mm-hmm. You know what the best thing would be? If Sami Zayn won Money in the Bank, and then, his whole thing with Roman and the bloodline, like, it would be awkward. And maybe he'd cash in, but maybe he'd be like, I'm not going to cash in, Roman, because I got too much respect for you. Just gives him the briefcase as an offering to the tribal chief.
Interesting, yeah. That could be good. I see Seth winning, though. Seth Franklin is my pick right now.
We don't know, though, because that's 4 out of the 8. Seth, Sheamus, Drew, Shinsuke, or Sammy. And then there's 4 more. No idea who that's going to be. Maybe Kevin Owens, maybe Ezekiel, maybe Ezekiel Jackson, maybe Jackson Riker.
Ezekiel
who knows?
About it.
What?
He talked about trying to qualify for Money in the Bank, Ezekiel, so I can see that happen.
It feels ridiculous.
AJ, by the way, that was a very good match.
Seth and AJ, yeah, it was good. I mean, they're very good. AJ's great. Very good.
Yeah, well, Seth's not bad too. I mean, I find he doesn't wrestle too much like a heel sometimes. He gets away from being a heel. He just tries to be too flashy, but you can't deny the talent.
No, he's very good. His matches with Cody have all been very good. That Hell in a Cell was excellent. Excellent. Their match at Mania was very good. And the one in between, too, at WrestleMania Backlash was really good, too.
Like, to me, my favorite still is the WrestleMania match, but more than likely, Hell in a Cell is probably going to be voted match of the year.
I'd say so. So far, like, that was pretty damn close. I don't know what else would be in that conversation. What else would contend with that? That was pretty damn good. Chad Gable beat Mustafa Ali. Riddle beat Ciampa on Raw. Ciampa's just a jobber on Raw. What happened? Why?
Well, if you notice, he got hurt in that match too. Like it seemed like because Riddle, like he did that little flipping corkscrew, landed right on his knee, and that led to the finish right afterwards. And you can see like Ciampa was like clutching his knee afterwards. I'm hoping he's okay because that looked rough.
They're doing nothing with him. It's not surprising, I guess. And then Veer beat Rey Mysterio, which is kind of a surprise. Good for Veer.
Well, was that the last match? Was that the last match, or was Mustafa Ali the last match? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a me show now. That's fantastic.
What happened? Where'd I go?
No one wanted to see Dave anymore.
Ah!
There's Dave. Ah.
Yeah, Raw was not great this week. SmackDown I thought was way better. I mean, Vince was on. Roman defended the title. I liked Roman and Riddle. I thought it was a really good match. I thought that match was better than any match we saw on Raw this week.
Well, I really like Seth and AJ, but I mean, this was better because it had a better build to it, and like it felt like a main event match where that was just like, well, they've wrestled each other many times over and over again. There was a lot more at stake in this, obviously. It's Roman's first match since WrestleMania singles, and Riddle's only chance at getting the Undisputed Championship. It just felt like it meant more. So that's what kind of made this match much more special than that match, and the better match WWE showed this week.
Yeah, with everything going on in the WWE, with the fact that Roman hasn't been on TV in so long and doesn't really wrestle on SmackDown anymore, and he's defending his title against Riddle, who is potentially going to be his Money in the Bank opponent, it had a big fight feel. You know, it felt like it meant something. It was for all the belts. Wasn't this his first? No, it's not his first defense. Is it his first defense? It was, right?
Oh, yeah.
Of the belts that he won at WrestleMania? Is that possible?
100%. McAfee even said it's his first one-on-one match since Mania.
That's crazy.
I know. It's a long time.
He's the undisputed champion. He became that in April, and now makes his first defense in June, on June 17th, and immediately after defending the championship, he goes right back into a program with a guy that he beat in April for the belt.
Never-ending loop.
Oh, it's great. I mean, the fans loved it. Brock Lesnar hit the F5 on Roman and the Usos, and everybody was going crazy. It is what it is. The match will be fun. And if, you're saying how it wasn't the match they wanted at WrestleMania, it'll probably be pretty damn good at Money in the Bank or SummerSlam or whenever it happens. I'm all right with it.
It's just sad it's not Randy. Like, I really wanted Randy to get the match, to be honest. I felt like he had good build going into this.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
Yeah, it is too bad. But, injuries happen in pro wrestling, and I guess they got to make the most of it. Elsewhere on SmackDown, I mean, the Vince promo, the Roman match, that was really the bulk of the show. New Day beat Jinder and Shanky. And Shanky's still doing this gimmick where he dances and Jinder gets mad that he's dancing. And at one point, Xavier Woods pulled out his trombone and started playing it, and Shanky couldn't help but dance, even though he was the legal man in the match. And then Jinder got distracted by Shanky dancing and lost the match, got hit with Trouble in Paradise by Kofi, and got pinned. It is the stupidest thing going on in all of WWE, and that's saying a lot. They have Ezekiel pretending to be, or Elias pretending to be his younger brother Ezekiel because he's changed his look, even though it's the same man. That is a stupid gimmick on Raw. But this, Shanky cannot help but dancing if music is playing. I mean, that is the stupidest thing in WWE. By a long shot.
I won't disagree with you that it's pretty bad, but you see a bunch of wrestlers in WWE like tweet about how like, oh, this is such a great thing. Like it pops the people backstage. So if it makes them happy or whatever, or it gets like the producers, whatever, the writers happy, they're just gonna keep writing this crap, unfortunately. And let's face it, like Shanky wasn't doing anything before. Now he's got a bit of buzz. So now they're gonna keep running with this, even though it's awful. And it just feels like really bad comedy that WWE loves to overproduce.
Over in AEW, I see the Stinger. Sting is back, helping out Darby Allin, taking out Kyle O'Reilly because Darby and Bobby Fish are having a match, and Kyle O'Reilly was there, but here comes Stang to defend his buddy Darby. Sting's been gone for a little bit, hasn't he?
I think a week before the pay-per-view, right? So since the end of May.
Yeah. Good to see Sting back, beating up Bobby Fish. Got his leg trapped with a baseball bat. The Stinger, baby! Yeah, Raquel Rodriguez beat Shayna Baszler to qualify for Money in the Bank. This Max Dupree thing, I mean, this is in contention for stupidest thing in WWE going on right now. He's a male.
I mean, it hasn't really happened yet.
Well, no, but like the fact that he was introduced in the ring and then he's backstage complaining to Adam Pearce that his lighting isn't good enough and he's a male model guy, scout or something. It's just bizarre and not very good. And that was basically SmackDown, right? Did anything else happen? Madcap Moss beat Baron Corbin.
There you go.
Again.
And now that seems to transition into Corbin against Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
And it looks like to me, I don't know about you, I think McAfee's probably going to wrestle Corbin at SummerSlam.
SummerSlam or Money in the Bank? Like, why?
Well, I think
why aren't they setting things up for Money in the Bank? You think everything's being set up for SummerSlam? Money in the Bank already does have 5 matches.
Right.
You might be right.
And
you might be right about that.
2 Money in the Bank matches. I mean, those matches are long, too, those Money in the Bank matches. And let's, I mean, I don't know about you. I'm happy not having, 5-hour pay-per-view. I mean, you could stack Money in the Bank all you want. I'd rather they don't, to be honest.
No, you're right. So far, we have the Usos against the Street Profits. Usos defending the WWE tag titles against them. Ronda Rousey defending her SmackDown title against Natalya. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Lacey Evans, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez have all qualified. Asuka and Becky Lynch are going to have a qualifying match on Raw. Aaliyah and Shotzi are going to have a qualifying match on SmackDown. And then 2 more participants to be determined. Then the men's Money in the Bank. What do you mean?
That's a lot. I have 8. It should have been only maybe 6 or 7, to be honest. 8 just seems like way too many people.
Let's book it. Who else is in? So Lacey, Alexa, Liv, Raquel, they're in. Asuka or Becky?
Becky.
Okay. I'll take that.
Becky's going to win it.
I think she's going to win it and go after Ronda.
That's interesting. Either way, whatever. Yeah.
Get that started. Why continue with Bianca? Move on. Win it and then go after Bianca again? How long is this Becky Bianca thing going to last? It went Mania to... No, SummerSlam to Mania. Are we going to go SummerSlam to Mania to SummerSlam again? Come on. No.
We do live in endless rematches, so I wouldn't be surprised, but...
But you figure Becky and Ronda are going to start up at some point, and a great way to take the title off Ronda is to use that Money in the Bank, because beating her straight up is kind of hard to do.
100%, but maybe they wait, Survivor Series is a good time to do it.
Maybe.
Wait and see.
Okay. And how about Aaliyah or Shotzi? I mean, does it matter?
I'll say they'll give it to Shotzi because I feel Shotzi, they put her down a lot. They got to give her something, I guess.
Who else gets in this match?
I think you throw in someone like Dewdrop, someone who's kind of different there.
She already lost a qualifying
And-
match.
Oh, did she already?
Well,
never
with
mind.
Nikki Ash in the tag team, right? The on Raw this week, it was Alexa and Liv against Dewdrop and Nikki,
Right.
and the winners got in Money in the Bank. So technically, Nikki Ash and Dewdrop have already lost qualifying matches. Not to say that they couldn't just get thrown into the match anyways, because who cares? But yeah, I'm just saying, just throwing that out there.
They might do a match. They've done this in the past where it's like the last chance. They throw everyone into one match, like a scramble, whatever.
Yeah.
That could easily happen too. But wow, it's very scarce when you talk about like who could be in it. Xia Li won't be in it. Apparently, she got hurt too in that match with Lacey Evans. So I don't know if you saw that afterwards.
That's crazy.
Like she had to be carried out afterwards because of that.
How about
Apparently, she was still in the ring when Wanda was in the ring for the promo
Really?
last week. She was,
I didn't
she was
see
that
that
hurt.
at all. Huh. How about Dana Brooke?
Yeah, Dana makes a lot of sense, to be honest, because they're kind of pushing her a little bit.
When's Charlotte coming back?
That's a great question.
Like,
I
she's
have
not
no idea
still
when
on her
Charlotte will come
honeymoon.
back.
This is what I don't understand. She's not on a honeymoon. Andrade is her husband. He's working at AEW. You see him every week. He's back.
Right.
If there are usually couples honeymoon together. So I don't understand where she is. She left for a wedding.
Well,
Andrade came back to AEW. She still doesn't come back to WWE. Where's she at?
Well, I think the thing with her though is like she's gonna come back when it's the appropriate time, kind of thing. Like they got to write her in, kind of thing. It's not just Charlotte's back. It's not a big deal. They got to make a big deal out of it.
All right. Meanwhile, we don't have many people for Money in the Bank. We're missing some people. We're missing a couple. Maybe Dana Brooke and somebody else. I don't know. Dewdrop, I guess. The men's is interesting because we're missing a bunch of people there. Seth Freakin, Sheamus, Drew, and Shinsuke or Sammy. So only 3 have actually qualified. Shinsuke or Sammy? I'd say Sammy.
Well, yeah, because like the story you brought up, it makes a lot of sense.
And even if
Yeah,
Sammy
Sammy,
doesn't
yeah.
win, just Sammy talking about winning Money in the Bank and helping Roman and giving the, you know what I mean? Just to kind of
Yeah.
make peace. Because Sammy tonight was on the show saying, there's no beef with me and Roman, because Kayla was asking him, like, Sammy, you think Roman's mad at you because you're the reason why Riddle has to wrestle Roman tonight for the championship because Sammy lost a match to Riddle, right? Giving
Mhm.
Riddle the title shot. So Sammy may be in trouble with Roman, and he may want to kind of mend the fence there. And offering him the Money in the Bank makes a lot of sense. So I think Sammy in there. And then who else? 4 more people. Kevin Owens and Ezekiel?
Yeah, I like that.
I think we probably get Bobby Lashley versus Theory for the U.S. title on this show.
That makes a lot of sense.
So they're not in Money in the Bank. Does Rick O'Shea get a spot after losing to Gunther again? He's not going to win the IC title back on SmackDown next week, so maybe he gets Money in the Bank? Or Mustafa Ali, or, somebody like that, maybe? Right, Mustafa
I like Ali.
wrestled.
I like Finn Balor.
Yeah.
I feel like, when you look at it, like it's kind of like how Hell in the Cell was booked. I feel more Raw than SmackDown, because like SmackDown, it feels like there's barely anybody on SmackDown. Like the Street Profits were kind of on SmackDown tonight. It just goes to show you, like, they don't have anybody on SmackDown anymore.
How about maybe Veer? Could Veer be in Money in the Bank? Or Rey?
Maybe.
Rey Mysterio.
I like Ray more, but I feel like Ray probably will lose his qualifying match, whoever he wrestles. Just the way it seems to be going for the Mysterios.
I don't know.
Maybe they'll put Dominic in it.
Oh, my God. They might. They might. You got a lot of different options for Money in the Bank, and we'll see what they do here. Sasha Banks released by the WWE. If you're AEW, you got to sign her, right? She's a massive
Well,
star.
90 days still, though, right?
Yeah, 90 days, but whatever. When that's up, you sign her. It's Sasha Banks. It's boss time.
All right, but then you have to deal with her as well. That's going to be something.
Well, what's the problem with Sasha Banks? What do you know?
Well, not once, but twice she has problems here where it's like she loses a championship or has a problem with tag titles, especially for whatever reason. And she has to take a leave of absence. So, I mean, you're going to have to deal with that. That could potentially happen again.
Yeah, well, maybe she's unhappy. Maybe she doesn't want to work in a company where two of the people in charge are being investigated for inappropriate sexual conduct with employees. Maybe she doesn't want to work for that company. Maybe she's got. Maybe it's not Sasha Banks' problem. Maybe it's a WWE problem. You ever think about that?
Well, again, she signed the contract, so you gave away your rights of like caring about that kind of stuff.
How dare you? No, that's not true.
They own you.
I disagree. That's not how that works. Sasha Banks has now been released by the WWE, so she is free. She can go wherever she wants. If I'm Tony Khan, I'm trying to sign Sasha Banks as quickly as possible because she's one of the biggest stars in professional wrestling. She's Sasha Banks. You know, I mean, she could be the AEW champion. She could beat Jade Cargill.
Sure, yeah.
Like, if anybody's going to beat Jade, the boss, Sasha Banks. Like, and I don't think anybody in AEW could beat Jade right now. Nobody's on the Jade Cargill level. Like, nobody makes sense to beat Jade in AEW.
Britt Baker.
No, not even Britt. They give Britt everything. It's ridiculous.
Exactly.
It's too much. It's too much with Britt Baker. They give her way too much. That whole Owen Hart thing, the more I think about it, the more it pisses me off. They're supposed to be heels, Britt Baker and Adam Cole, I think. And it was such a babyface thing. It was such a babyface thing with the Martha Hart, and they're hugging, and they're smiling, and they're being good company people, and there's Tony Khan, like, so happy and hugging them. Like, it's just, what the hell was that? All that stuff was bizarre. Britt Baker and Adam Cole. Something about that I don't like. They give Britt Baker too much. Sasha Banks can come into AEW and beat Britt Baker, beat Jade Cargill, beat everybody. Because she's a bigger star than anybody in their women's division by far. 10 times the star of anybody in their women's division, and pretty much a bigger star than anybody in their men's division, except for maybe a few. But Sasha Banks would come into that company and be top 5 recognizable wrestling star. Top 5.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I mean, in terms of like the star power, in terms of the talent, yeah, sure. But you also have to deal with that talent. And that might be a problem. It was a problem in WWE.
It's a problem for them. I don't know. I think she would be really good in AEW. I think you're being unfair to Sasha Banks. I don't know what your problem is.
Be unfair.
Yeah. Why you gotta be thinking? You think she's really that bad? You think she's got an attitude problem? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm saying, like, you just walk out not once but twice. I mean, you can say what you want about it's the company or whatever, but you also have to look at yourself in the mirror sometimes as well.
Well, CM Punk walked out.
Right?
Tony Storm walked out. Jeff Hardy literally walked out. They signed all of them. I didn't hear you saying that about them.
Well, with Tony Storm, like, that was her decision, whatever. She wanted to leave. Let her leave, fine.
Sasha, too. But it's her decision. She wanted to. What's the difference?
Well, the difference was, like, Sasha was the champion at that point, though. And just like, well, no, I don't want to do this.
A championship that will no longer exist because it's a division that wasn't cared about. It was a joke championship. It's like being 24/7 champion. They got less TV time than the 24/7 title, the Women's Tag Team Championship, since the beginning of those belts. And they meant something to Sasha, and for some reason she's being crucified for it. I don't understand. You think she's a bad person? I'm on Team Sasha Banks. I'm on Team Sasha Banks. I think she cares. I like a wrestler that cares. She gives a shit about what she's doing. I respect her.
Well, that's fine if she has her beliefs and all that, and you can do that. But, I mean, there's repercussions to your actions here, and it's like, this is what's happening now. Now, all right, you care about the tag team titles? Well, now the tag team titles are dead because apparently you care.
Well, it just shows you that the WWE doesn't care about the tag team titles. It proves Sasha's point. You guys don't care about the WWE tag team titles. No, we do. No, you don't. I'm leaving. I'm sick of this. They leave, and then they're like, hey, they're gone, and it was unprofessional, and we need them around because there's the tag team champions, and we're going to do a tournament for the tag team titles. They say that once. They never repeat it. They haven't announced a tournament. You would think Money in the Bank. Let's have some tournament matches. SummerSlam. Let's start building this tournament. You haven't heard word one. There are no women's tag teams. It's a division that doesn't exist. They're not going to bring back the women's tag team championship because they don't care about tag team wrestling, let alone women's tag team wrestling in the WWE. It doesn't register. They don't care, and they will never bring back those tag team titles, which proves Sasha's point, which is you people don't care about the WWE tag team titles. They didn't care about the women's tag team titles. She got mad. She left. And then when she left, they just decided to forget about the tournament. And they never even explained to the viewers like, oh, well, we were going to do a tournament, but we decided not to because there's no real division. They never explain anything. They're just like, oh, they'll forget because no one cares about the women's tag team titles. Sasha was right. They will I would bet anything. They are not bringing those belts back. They probably never will. Because they don't care. They never did. They never focused on it. They never paid attention. They could have done something with that division easily. They chose not to.
I think you just got to give them time to build up some tag teams. You kind of mentioned Liv and Bliss. They got to build up some more teams, though. So
They
just got to
won't.
give them time.
They give them time. The division's been around for how long, and how many tag teams have they created? They broke up the Iconics for no reason. That was a made tag team. That's a real team. Real best friends, a real team. They fucking broke them up and turned them into nothing for no reason. And then they fired them both. They don't give a shit about the tag team division. Let alone the women's tag team division, like the men's tag teams or the women's tag teams. They don't give a shit. Look how many men's tag teams there are. There's like 2 or 3 of them. You got the Usos. You got the Street Profits.
It's much better now, actually, with undisputed tag champs. Now it actually feels like it's decent.
It's still pretty thin. And the women's division right now, if they were to hold a tournament, you couldn't put together enough teams. Nikki Ash and Doudrop are a team. Maybe Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan, you could work as a team. There's nobody else. There's literally no other teams. Nobody teams up. It's not a division that exists. It's not a thing. They will not bring those belts back. I guarantee it. Crazy.
Patience.
Yes. What, you think they're going to bring it back? Get the fuck out of here, man. I'll bet you. Let's bet. You always lose your bets to me when we talk wrestling. Let's go.
All right, they'll actually bring the tag team titles back at some point? Yeah, sure, I'll take that bet.
In the next 5 years.
5 years. All right,
They won't. Or how about in the next 6 months? Because they did say they were going to do a tournament.
I like 5 years.
Do you think that tournament's going to happen? You think that tournament's ever going to happen?
something that resembles a tournament, I think will happen at some point. Sure, like
When?
a tournament might be an elimination chamber match. Is that tournament?
When?
Well, who knows? It could be a while from now. It's
Never.
true.
Never, bro.
I like
Unless they
5
just
years.
Yeah, 5 years. Okay. Well, maybe in the next 5 years. I mean, it's possible, but not in the next 6 months. I bet you that. Okay. Jeff Hardy got arrested for another drunken driving, which seems like old
That
news at
video
this
is very
point.
disturbing.
I didn't see the
I don't know
video.
if you
I don't
saw that.
even. No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, they drew their guns on him. Like that was like I thought Jeff was gonna die for a second there. That was pretty bad.
Oh my
'Cause, like,
god.
they stopped Jeff and they told Jeff to get out of the car, but Jeff didn't realize they didn't put the car in park and the car started to move. So then they pulled the guns and then Jeff's like, oh crap.
Oh my
And they
god.
pulled him out of the car with the guns pulled. Like that was scary stuff.
Oh.
Like thank goodness Jeff isn't dead right now, to be honest, because that could have been really bad.
He's got to figure himself out, man. It's enough at this point.
Well, like it's really horrible what's happened, I think, in wrestling, where it's just like, well, you get a DUI, that's on you, that's your fault kind of thing. Like I honestly think Tony Khan did the right thing, right? Where he's like, I talked to Jeff, I told him like, look, like we're suspending you, and you have to go to rehab if you want to come back. Like I think Tony Khan did the right thing there. He told him like, look, you got to shape up here, or it's over.
If you work for the WWE, you could appear on TV the next day. It really doesn't matter. That's what the Usos did, right? Jimmy Uso, he got arrested, DUI, right? Showed up on TV like the next day, like nothing happened. No big deal.
But
Jeff
thankfully,
Hardy's,
it's not like that with this case. And Jeff needs it really, because like it's inexcusable. Like it can't happen.
It just keeps happening too with him for so many years. So many arrests. It's enough. Don't be drinking and driving. It's not good. You're not just putting your own life at risk. You're putting other people's lives at risk. It's a really bad thing to do. You know?
It was like 9 a.m. too. He's doing this. Like,
what the fuck?
That's a serious problem.
What is happening? But he might be medicating because he's putting his body through everything still. He might just be in terrible pain. And he needs something to kill the pain. Which would not surprise me given, what he's done over the past 25, 30 years and what he continues to do. He looked pretty banged up last time we saw him on TV wrestling, right? I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on.
I think it's just
there.
best that he's out of the ring right now. It's best for his health, for his family, like for the people that he wrestles as well, because I don't think he's in the right frame of mind right now to wrestle.
Yep. And he didn't wrestle this week on Dynamite. So it was not the Hardys versus the Bucks versus the Jurassic Express. It was just the Bucks versus the Jurassic Express, and the Bucks won in a ladder match. New tag team champions. Now two-time AEW tag team champion. Two-time or three-time? Two-time, right?
Two-time.
Two-time AEW tag team champions.
First ever.
Yeah, first ever two-time. And I thought the Hardys were probably going to win here. That's what I was expecting. But then when the Hardys weren't in it, they gave it to the Bucks.
I think the Bucks were always supposed to win, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think the Hardys was just kind of like a throw-off kind of thing. But it was always supposed to go on the Bucks. Because the Bucks have that whole thing set up with the FTR in the future. So I think that's what they're building towards. And they could have done Hardys and Bucks again this time for the titles, right? So.
What'd you think of that match?
Like for a TV ladder match, it was one of the better ones I've seen, I think, in a long time. Like to me, it's like maybe it was better the Hardys weren't in it, because it was actually better to focus on these teams alone. Because when it becomes like a 3-team thing, it becomes just too chaotic. With this, it worked, and like things were already set up. Like you already had a lot of the ladders and tables, so you don't have to worry about taking like 5 minutes to set everything up. Everything was pretty much already done, so it was just well put together. just the whole match, and you could tell like the two teams have chemistry. That's what works really well. Is when two teams know each other like that, you can put a match like that together so well. Just opening bell too. It was just like it felt like nonstop chaos
Yeah,
for a ladder match. I mean, wow.
there was no
Go ahead.
like downtime. You know, like you're right.
Except the commercial break.
Yeah. But man, they went through like a million tables. They did some crazy stuff. Nick Jackson and Matt Jackson, but Nick Jackson just really stood out in this match. Tremendous performance from him. Luchasaurus was on the mark with his stuff, you know? Jungle Boy was doing all right. Like, they all hit their spots. They all performed to the top of their abilities, and you could tell that they were really going for it. This was a big match. This was a title change. This is a ladder match. It's the Young Bucks, you know, wrestling a match, winning the AEW tag team titles. It means something for them. It means something for the Jurassic Express to lose their belts here and potentially break up as a tag team, or definitely change with Christian turning on Jungle Boy after the match. Looks like Jungle Boy versus Christian might be a match we see going forward. This was a big one. This was a big match. I really appreciated it. I thought it was fantastic. Match of the week for me. And that's saying something because I thought Will Ospreay and Dax Harwood was tremendous. Very good match on Dynamite. Dynamite was solid this week.
I wasn't a huge fan of the opener, like Jericho and Ortiz. Like,
yeah,
it felt like it was all over the place, that match. Like, and that match also felt like a lot of smoke and mirrors, where it's just a lot of stuff on the outside and a lot of distractions to take away from them, that the match wasn't really that good. But besides that, like you said, Harwood and Ospreay, like that was a very good match. I mean, that was probably for me, like to see Will Ospreay like his first like one-on-one match I've seen. Like, wow, I get the hype now. It all makes sense.
You saw him wrestle Lance Archer back in the day. I remember showing you that match. You've seen him wrestle before.
Yeah, but it feels like it was such a long time ago now.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only a couple of years ago but it feels like so much has happened since then. It's totally different. The only thing that I was kind of like didn't make a lot of sense. He came out with like the Rev Pro Heavyweight Championship when at Forbidden Door he's defending the IWGP US title. Like, wouldn't it have made sense to come out with a title you're actually going to be defending on the pay-per-view instead?
Yes.
Like, I don't know, it just makes more sense for stuff like that, but whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
it's
you're
not
right.
a big thing.
You're right. You're 100% right. But I thought his match was great. I love Will Ospreay. I'm a big fan. I've seen him wrestle, pretty much everybody. And I was happy to see him get a match here with Dax Harwood. It was a cool match, The FTR style is very like anti-Will Ospreay style, but they worked very well together. Like Dax Harwood and FTR and WWE, their whole gimmick was no flips, just fists. And I felt like it was a reaction to Will Ospreay and Ricochet and a lot of the guys who were wrestling this type of style. So to see them wrestle each other on Dynamite, I thought was a real interesting match, and they both worked very, very well together. It was just, fantastic. Nice clash of styles. Great stuff. Dax is really good, too. Dax is just a solid pro wrestler. The more you see him, the more you see, like, wow, he can go in there with anybody and have a really good match. His match with Punk, his match here with Ospreay. He's good, man. There might be, I think the promo is a little bit, not as, it's like not a main event promo from Dax Harwood and the FTR. It's not a main event promo. It's not a main event, like, look. But as far as the work in the ring, yeah, it's top notch. It's high level.
Well, I've always had high praise for FTR. Even when they were the Revival, I thought they were the best tag team when they were in WWE. So, not too surprised. They just get better and better all the time. So, and keep wrestling amazing talent. It's going to happen for you, I think. I'm just kind of disappointed though with the pay-per-view match. Like, it's Ospreay against Orange Cassidy. Like, to me, that's not a big time match, but okay, fine. That's what you're gonna do.
Yeah. What the hell?
Well, did you hear they wanted it to be Andrade?
That would
But
have been
apparently,
better.
because there's like that would have been fantastic. But apparently, there's whole like politics with CML and like AAA or something, so that they blocked that from happening or something. So that Andrade's not even on the pay per view. I don't think the
Lame.
Lucha Brothers are on the pay per view.
Yeah.
So
Lame.
that kind of sucks a lot and takes
Yeah.
away from the pay per view now. Now we get this match instead, and it's like, well, that's not what I expected. Like, out of all the talent that he could have faced, that's who he gets. Like, okay, I mean, they might pull something out that's somewhat decent, but I just thought it could have been someone else. I mean, I'm guessing Danielson's going to wrestle Zack Sabre Jr. I'm guessing at this point, because like, who else is he going to wrestle?
I hope he wrestles Zack Sabre Jr. They were talking about him. They asked Regal about the challenge on Rampage tonight. I heard them talking about that. So it's in the works. I feel like it's going to happen. But they don't have that much time to set it up. Next week's Dynamite is the last Dynamite before Forbidden Door. They got one more week of TV before this pay-per-view.
Wow.
So they either set it up on Dynamite or they don't do it at all. So far for this pay-per-view, we have Jon Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan, who did appear on Dynamite this week. Didn't really say
wrestling on Dynamite this
what
week too.
He is.
They announced it's going to be, I think it's Jericho and Archer against Moxley and Tanahashi this week on Dynamite.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah.
So Moxley versus Tanahashi for the interim AEW World Championship. Of course, CM Punk is a champ and he's injured. We're going to have a 4-way for the inaugural AEW Atlantic Championship. Pac, Miro, and either Malachi Black or Penta Oscuro. And then they'll take on either the winner of... What? Sorry? Saying something?
It's obviously going to be Malachi Black. Like,
yeah, probably. And then either Tomoaki Hanma, Clark Connors, Tomohiro Ishii, or Yoshinobu Kanemaru.
I like Ishii in that one.
I think Ishii makes sense. Although Hanma would be fun. I know you're not too familiar with Hanma, but I think Hanma would be good in this one. I'd like to see Hanma get the match, but we'll see. Then we have Le Sex Gods, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara. They're back. They are a team again. They will team up with
Trio Sex Gods now, isn't it? Because it's with Ty as well.
Oh, is Ty a part of Le Sex Gods now? With Jericho and
That's
Sammy?
what I think they said.
I see.
Trio Sex God or something, yeah.
Yes. Sammy Guevara helped Jericho win the hair versus hair match against Ortiz this week on Dynamite. And Sammy Guevara back with Jericho, now in the Jericho Appreciation Society. And it'll be Jericho, Sammy, and Minoru Suzuki versus Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Utah, and Shota Umino, which is a weird trio. Kingston, Utah, and Umino. All right.
But it gives the match that we suspected, Eddie Kingston against Suzuki, so it gives people what they wanted.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a weird one. Then you got Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy for the IWGP US title, which is another weird one. Then you have Thunder Rosa defending the AEW women's title against Toni Storm. I'm not sure why this is at Forbidden Door. What is Forbidden Door about this?
Okay. Well, I guess because Tony did wrestle in Japan. Fine, if you want to stretch that one.
Why is this match happening on this pay-per-view?
I don't get it. This match was happening. Wow.
Then you have FTR versus Great-O-Khan and Jeff Cobb versus Roppongi Vice for the Ring of Honor and IWGP tag team titles in a winner-take-all match. So the winner of this match will be the Ring of Honor and the IWGP tag team champions. I could see FTR winning this, I
Yeah,
could
maybe.
see Roppongi Vice winning this and taking all the belts.
It's pretty good for them. They walked in with nothing and walked in with everything. It's kind of funny if that happens.
I could see that.
Interesting.
I could see that happening. So I don't know. That's an interesting match. So those are 6 matches announced. I would expect Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr., although Danielson is out with an injury. It wasn't supposed to keep him out for that long, and there is talk of having him appear at Forbidden Door in wrestling, and I hope that he does, because he would definitely improve the quality of this pay-per-view, because so far I'm not too excited about anything. You know? Kind of need Bryan Danielson on this thing.
If you're not excited, then it's not a good pay-per-view, because at least you know a lot of the guys on this. Like, I'm walking into this pretty much blind here.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about any of this stuff. I mean, Will Ospreay's great, but he's wrestling Orange Cassidy. FTR's match against, Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb don't really do it for me as far as a tag team. Roppongi Vice either. Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm is like weird. The Jericho match, Jericho, Guevara, and Suzuki is just a weird pairing, and then they're up against another weird team that doesn't fit. Kingston, Utah, and Umino. Umino is not a star of New Japan. He's not a big star. And then the 4-way Pac, Miro, Malachi, and probably Ishii. Like, that could be match of the night. That could be all right. I'm actually interested in that. But Moxley and Tanahashi is a main event. I don't know. I love Tanahashi, but him against Moxley, it would be much better if it was Tanahashi against CM Punk. Put it that way.
Of course, 100%.
That's a dream match. Moxley and Tanahashi is cool. Punk and Tanahashi is a dream match. And on a pay-per-view like this, you kind of want a headline with a dream match. A match you never thought would happen that is happening. And Punk and Tanahashi is one of those matches, but we're not getting it. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson would be a dream match. If we could put that on, it would be really nice. It would make it a lot better. And I'll tell you what, all this Adam Cole, Jay White stuff with Hangman, I think it's leading to something. I think it's leading to a tag team match, playa. I think it's going to be Hangman and Okada against Jay White and Adam Cole at this pay-per-view.
Not for the title.
No, I don't think Jay White's going to defend his title.
It's kind of disappointing.
Because he said, if I defend my title, it's not going to be against Hangman or Adam Cole. Right? He said that.
I thought maybe a 4-way then.
I don't know. I don't think he's going to defend the title at all. I think we just do a tag team match, and we're just planting the seeds for what's next. I think we will do Adam Cole versus Jay White for the title, and we'll do Hangman versus Okada in a match at the next New Japan AEW event. Because
There's going to be a next one?
Well, do you think this is it? Like, their working relationship is going to end with a pay-per-view, and then that's it. They do a pay-per-view, and then they never work together again? You would think that they would be building towards the next one.
I think it depends how successful this is.
I think sold out in minutes.
That's great. Let's see how many buys it gets. I question that one.
I don't know.
We'll get over 100,000 buys.
I don't know. But I think we're setting things up. I think we do a tag team match. A 4-way would be fun.
Cheaper.
A 4-way would be fun, like you said. Sorry, what? What's cheaper?
It's cheaper than AEW pay-per-view. I think it's only like $40, I think.
Ah. Well, maybe it'll get more people tuning in because of that. I don't know.
Well, maybe they've realized people would be less interested in it, possibly, too.
Well, the card right now, like we just ran through it, it's not great. Given the talent rosters that both companies have, this is what they put together. It is not great.
Is there anything you would add that they haven't or could potentially add, like besides
Well,
the Danielson match?
that's tough because they have a lot of the players booked, right?
Right.
Like, I would add a Hangman and Okada tag team match against Jay White and Adam Cole. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think it would be really good.
Okay.
I think it would be like it would probably steal the show, that match. And I think a lot of people that haven't seen Okada, that will see Okada for the first time, will be blown away. You know, he's the best. So that I would love to see. I don't know who's available. Like, I think Naito's hurt.
Oh, that's
I'm not sure.
unfortunate.
I'm not sure actually. Um, but I'd have to take a look at the rosters here.
I wouldn't mind seeing David Finlay again. I'd like to see him get another match. I thought him and Hangman was a good match. Like, see what he could do against somebody else.
Yeah. Let's see. I would love to see Kanemaru.
Against?
He would be, or Evil. Evil would be cool. Give me I don't know. Shingo Takagi? Give me Shingo Takagi against Ricky Starks.
Okay.
Ooh, that would be money. That would be a killer match. Shingo against Ricky Starks. That would be pretty good. Give me I don't know. Hiromu Takahashi. Give me Hiromu. Oh, Naito's been wrestling. Naito's not hurt. Well, give me Naito against somebody then. What are we doing here? Naito wrestled in the last show. The last big show. Give me Naito versus Bryan Danielson. What are we doing here? Stop fucking around. Give me Naito versus... Who's left on AEW's roster that hasn't been picked, you know? I don't know why this show doesn't have Naito. You want to bring out all the big stars. Like, Tetsuya Naito is one of those guys. And his buddy Hiromu Takahashi is one of those guys, too. I throw Hiromu in there, Naito in there, and I don't know. See, AEW doesn't have enough stars, I think. They don't have enough guys to wrestle these guys. Who's AEW? Give me Hiromu versus Darby Allin. That match would be ridiculous. Hiromu is like, if you know who Hiromu Takahashi is, the ticking time bomb, you know that would be a sick matchup. Hiromu versus Darby would be insane. That's a dream match right there. Naito versus Andrade, that would be sick. They know each other, It can't happen.
Not going to be Andrade, though, sadly.
But Naito versus any number of guys, I think would be very good. Naito versus Keith Lee.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
It would be sick. Be tremendous. Give me that. It's like not that hard. But apparently they can't get these matches together for this pay-per-view. Unless they're about to add like 10 matches next week and make this pay-per-view, a 17-match show. They only have 6 matches, and usually AEW cards are like, 12, 13 matches?
Well, another thing, too, though, like we're saying, like, oh, there's only one Dynamite left, but there's also a Rampage left, and they've also added matches last minute on Rampage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they can still add stuff. And they will add stuff. They definitely will add stuff, so shouldn't be worried.
Well, I hope we get Okada and Naito on this card, or at least one of them, and Zack Sabre versus Bryan Danielson. Give me that at least. I need it.
I think you'll be overall satisfied, but just not 100% satisfied.
I don't know. The card right now is not too good. And I think maybe they're making the pay-per-view cheaper because it's not going to be one of those 5-6 hour pay-per-views. It's going to be like 2 or 3 hours.
I wouldn't mind that. That's fine.
Yeah, well, I'm happy with that too, but I'm just saying, I don't know how many more matches they're going to add to this thing. How the hell is Naito not being used here? That's why I thought he was hurt, because there was no talk of him wrestling this pay-per-view. I'm like, why is this not happening? Why is nobody calling Naito out? He's like one of the big stars in that company. He's the man. Los Ingobernables de Japón. You know?
Maybe it's because of that, because they know there's the tie-in with Andrade, and they didn't want to.
Tranquilo. Come on.
They know they couldn't do that match, so.
I don't get it. All right, John, I think we've done it all. We've said it all. We've done it all. You going to watch Slammiversary this weekend with Dixie Carter?
Not so much. Wasn't really newsworthy to me, so I'm surprised you mentioned it, to be honest.
Well, it was just kind of a funny thing. I was like, what? Dixie Carter. Josh Alexander and Eric Young is the main event for the Impact World title. How about it? Well, Vince is gone for now, kind of. Not really.
He's still running the show, so life goes on. Nothing really
Wait a second.
changes. Just they got more publicity.
We got some breaking news here, John.
Breaking. We say it's good news because it seems we get a lot of bad news.
WWE has announced a huge last man standing match for SummerSlam. You are correct. It will be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Last man standing at SummerSlam.
Well, at least they haven't done that match yet, so there's something different. So that's nice. I like Brock can just show up. Bam, title match. Don't have to wrestle anybody. Just title match.
That's Brock Lesnar. And apparently Riddle said that Randy's got a big operation coming up in his promo tonight on SmackDown. I didn't hear him say that. I've got 2 kids. Sometimes they yell at me and I don't hear everything. You know? But
I didn't catch it either, so don't worry.
Okay. Well, apparently Randy, he's going to have surgery because Riddle said something about it. But Brock and Roman is not going to be at Money in the Bank. It's going to be at SummerSlam.
Well, they got to start selling that one, so makes sense.
There you go. So they have started to, yeah, well, that's a stadium show too, right? In Nashville, I think.
Right, and I believe last time we checked it, they weren't selling that well, so maybe this is them trying to get the big push now for it.
Yeah. Brock and Roman in a last man standing. You think that works? Is that, if you live in Nashville, right, and you haven't bought a ticket for SummerSlam, and they announce Brock versus Roman, do you run out to the box office, or, most likely you go to a thing on your computer and buy a ticket?
Your phone or something.
Yeah, whatever.
Point, yeah. I mean, how have they already done 2 SummerSlams? I feel like I know I saw at least one SummerSlam where it was Brock and Roman.
I don't know.
Have we done 2 at least? Because I feel like we've done that. We've done so many WrestleManias now, and just the little pay-per-views in between. I mean, it helps that it makes it last man standing a little bit, but it's tough. It's a tough sell, man. How many years the same match over and over? You got to change it up here. I mean, Riddle can't get a title shot again. They got to add that into the stipulation where Lesnar can no longer challenge again if he loses.
What if he wins?
Yeah, that could happen too, of course. That's the thing about Brock. It kind of makes it fun too. Brock can always win.
Yeah, because they could say, Brock. Let's just go with Brock for a bit and give Roman some time off,
Right.
It's possible.
But that kind of throws off the whole Cody thing. I feel like they're building Cody up pretty good. He's got to be the guy to beat Roman, really. it would take away from Cody's win if Brock wins the title, I think.
I think Cody being the guy to beat Roman sends the wrong message. It sends a message of, be the AEW guy, be a big star in AEW, come in and you could beat our guy. You could be the guy to beat our guy. I don't think so. WWE
MJF,
doesn't operate that way.
Jeff is listening.
Yeah, well, has he ever watched WWE before? Ask Sting.
Well, that was rough. That was a tough time in life.
Ask
but
Sting.
Thankfully, Sting recovered.
If you could be a good guy and a, legend of wrestling and come in and beat their guy. You can't. They're going to label you as a WCW guy, even though that company's been dead for like 20 years by the time you show up. And Triple H will beat you at WrestleMania. That's how these things work. Cody is not going to be the guy to beat Roman Reigns. They'll have Brock or Drew do it over Cody. Cody might beat him eventually, but he won't be the guy to end this run. Brock might be the guy to end this run at SummerSlam, but, say Roman holds on to it until WrestleMania and he beats The Rock. Cody's not going to be the guy to beat him after that. That would be crazy. They're not doing that. That's not how they operate. No matter what they told Cody, that's not how they operate.
Well, I just feel the way they kind of talk about how Cody hasn't wrestled in 6 years, so kind of don't acknowledge the fact that he wrestled somewhere else. So
yeah, well, Stone Cold...
He's still clean.
Stone Cold asked him about it on his podcast, which is on the WWE Network. So, come on. We all know.
Right, we know. But they just, WWE television still don't really acknowledge it, so...
Well, they don't acknowledge AEW as a rule. It's a different situation. I'm saying he's not coming in and beating Roman. He's not going to be the guy to beat Roman. If you think that, I don't know. I think you're going to be disappointed.
Well, he's got to come back first, right? I mean, he's going to be out probably until next year, so there's a long wait for that.
Yeah, apparently that's bullshit, eh? He's not really going to be out 9 months. He's going to be out like maybe 3 to 6 months. He's going to be back by the end of the year. Maybe he'll come back only
for the Rumble.
For the Rumble.
It's still a long ways away, though. Like, we still have a summer to enjoy, until then.
Yeah. And a fall. But, probably he shows up Rumble time, but if not sooner. It might be sooner. It might be November. Who knows? Like, this is not an injury that requires, I think, a long recovery. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, obviously. But I think 9 months was, like, just a crazy estimate. All right. That's about it. I want to thank Harold Schneider. You're the Super Chat leader of the night. Thank you, Harold. Thank you, Doug Hepburn. Good to see you guys in the chat tonight, members of the team. Join.ringsidereport.net is what you need to do if you haven't already. Support the Ringside Report Network. We keep giving you shows like this. You want to answer Doug's question? He wants to know who's the next captain of the Habs. They don't have a captain?
No, they traded their captain, I think yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. I'd go with Gallagher. Gallagher's my pick.
There you go. He's my pick too, then. I'll go with
there you go. That's fantastic. You should have picked Colorado. My pick's still going pretty good right now for that.
Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. What?
The Cup, the final. It's going on right now.
Oh.
We got Colorado and Tampa. I had Colorado and Florida. Close enough. But either way, Colorado was
Tampa is in Florida, John. You were right.
Remember, there's the Florida Panthers, right? But whatever. Like, I had the Florida Panthers, but
they don't call them the Miami Panthers or something? Are they not in Miami? I don't know.
You're thinking baseball with the Miami Marlins?
Yeah. I figure hockey would just follow suit. It's the thing to do.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Hockey should just do whatever baseball does. It just seems to be the move.
Oof, not with that wild card rule.
So who's winning the cup? It's over? Somebody won.
No, it's not over yet, but Colorado's winning right now, so they'll probably win the cup.
And the NBA finals are going on too, right? The Warriors are playing the Celtics.
They're done?
That I'm aware of. That I'm more aware of than the hockey. I didn't know who's playing in the hockey. I didn't even know they were in the finals. I thought it was over, quite frankly. But I know that
NBA
the
is over.
Celtics are playing the Warriors still.
No, it's over.
It's over?
The Warriors have won. Sorry,
they
Andy,
won.
The Celtics lost.
Oh, okay. I am not aware of that kind of stuff. I got Vince McMahon news to deal with. All right, pal? God damn it. I got Vince
and
news to
diapers.
deal with.
That's what you gotta worry about.
Diapers. Whew. What else do I have to tell you? I think that's it. Should we open up a can of whoop ass?
Well, you got some Austin beer?
It's not beer.
Doesn't
It's
look like
actually Stone Cold. It's like there's like a figure of Stone Cold in this thing.
Kind of looks like Austin.
It's a Funko soda. Only 10,000 of these are made. Got one
Wow.
of them. Yeah, and there's like a Chase figure that you could possibly get, which is rare. I don't know. I just like a can with Stone Cold. I haven't even opened it up to see what kind of toy I have or what the thing looks like inside. I just like the can. Maybe one day I'll open it live on the show. We'll do like an unboxing.
Well, as long as you're not like AJ and trying to auction off all your stuff.
Well, I don't want to auction off my... AJ tries to sell my stuff. I don't really think I have anything new to show you. I mean, I probably do, but... we're good. Johnny, when is your next match? When can people see you in the ring?
Well, again, I'll keep you up to date on that. Hopefully sometime next month. But right now, it's just relaxing and healing, which is pretty good. Enjoying the wonderful weather that we're finally getting now. Hopefully it continues.
I know you, John. You're always healing. Such a heel. Such a heel. Always healing out on me, brother. I'm kidding. I'm kidding around.
Yeah, I was actually pretty nice to you tonight, to be honest.
You were quite nice to me. Thank you, John. Thank you for being a friend. You're a good man.
Fred and AJ were quite heels last night, to be honest, if people haven't saw that episode.
To me?
A little bit, yeah.
Whoa. Were they? Tell me.
Well, you'd have to watch the episode again. Maybe you forgot.
What
I don't
happened?
know. It
I
seems
did
like they were
forget.
going against your picks and all this, and like, you don't remember that?
I mean, sometimes they go against my picks. I remember Fred's racism. Fred was being racist, I think, against me.
There was something else too, if I remember correctly. But again, you have to rewatch, see the replay.
There you go. Watch Ringside Report MMA. Good plug to see them attacking me, I guess. Fred and AJ were attacking me. I don't remember. I didn't feel attacked. I thought we had a good time. And that's it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll be back here on
Thursday? You actually don't have to watch long this weekend, to be honest. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a rare weekend off.
That's nice. Yeah, I'll be back here Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Ringside Report MMA, where we will preview the next UFC show, which will be UFC Vegas, Gamrot versus Sarukian. Okay. Check out our picks for the Cater versus Emmett UFC Austin card on Ringside Report MMA. And by the way, I know I mentioned it before. I don't think I said Olivier Aubin won his fight. He won a decision tonight over his opponent there at PFL. So congratulations to Olivier Aubin-Mercier. Good Montreal Canadian fighter getting a nice victory tonight. Good guy, friend of the show, friend of the network. Picks up a victory. Just cruising through that PFL. Secures himself a playoff spot in the PFL, and he's one step closer to winning the $1 million grand prize. Olivier's going to be a millionaire. If he's not already. I mean, you know, he was in the UFC for a while. But he's going to make $1 million in this tournament. The guy's big money. He's a big money man. Big respect to him. I'm a big fan. And glad to see him pick up a victory tonight. more victories tomorrow on our bets for the UFC. And that's it. Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Harold. Thank you, Doug. And I'll catch you again on Thursday here on the Ringside Report Network.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.